New details from a news conference that is just wrapping up. A coach from one of America's best-known college football teams is arrested on sex abuse charges. This weekend, former Penn State defensive coordinator Jerry Sandusky, the guy on the left, was charged with sexually abusing 8 young boys.
In November of 2011, former Penn State coach Jerry Sandusky was charged with 40 counts of statutory rape of 8 boys over the span of 15 years. This is a serious criminal offense. Why is it that when it was reported in the media, the word rape is never mentioned and the phrase sexual abuse is favored? There are thousands of rapes reported each year. In 2011, there were 1,369 rapes reported in the New York metropolitan area alone. These cases do not see a courtroom. This is likely due to the fact that many rapes are being reported and treated as sexual assaults in the media. In this video, I'm going to examine modern journalism's use of euphemisms in the reporting of rape cases. To do this, I'm going to use the Potter Box model of ethical decision. The Potter Box, developed by Ralph Potter, is used as a framework for ethical decisions. Its goal is to use 4 distinct categories that are considered to be universal in all ethical dilemmas in order to come to a conclusion about an ethical issue. The dilemma at play in this case is it ethical for journalists to report rape cases as sexual assaults or sexual abuse? To answer this, we must start with the first category of the Potter Box. We must first isolate the facts and address what's going on. The first fact is, instead of using the word rape, journalists use the phrase sexual assault or sexual abuse. The next fact is the definition of the word rape as defined by the federal government is ever-changing. Thirdly, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, there were 88,000 rapes reported in the United States. It wasn't until almost a day later that smaller magazines such as the LA Weekly finally came out and reported that Laura Logan had been brutally raped and beaten.
To turn now to that ugly attack in Egypt on CBS News correspondent Lara Logan. It happened in those chaotic moments Friday when the crowds learned that President Mubarak was out.
The next step in the Potter Box is to state the values relevant to the dilemma. Essentially, we are asking, what do we care about? In the United States, there's a tendency to place partial blame on the victim of rape. This is known as the victim-whore dichotomy. Does this impact how journalists report a rape? Modern Americans value information. Readers are looking for trustworthy news that can report honestly about crime and current events. Readers value being informed. The third step in the Potter Box is to look at the relevant principles. Principles are ethical philosophies or modes of ethical reasoning that may be applicable to the situation. One principle is Confucius's golden mean. What is the middle point for discussing rape? If the word rape is perceived to be too harsh or graphic, and the phrase sexual assault is deemed too light, what is the middle ground that is appropriate for reporting rapes? Compromise, if possible, must be reached. The next principle involved in the dilemma is John Rawls' veil of ignorance. Remove all social differentiations, lose the ideas of class, age, race, everything. Once we shed all of society's perceptions surrounding rape, what are we left with? Who is the most vulnerable? The victim of the rape? No, it is the reader. The reader is the most vulnerable when it comes to the reportings of rapes by journalists. When journalists choose to say sexual assault over rape, the reader is the one who suffers. The gravity and severity of the crime is lost on the reader, and they are being misled by the journalist. J.S. Mill's principle of utilitarianism also comes into play. What brings the greatest amount of good to the greatest number of people? When a person reads the word rape, it is a harsh blow to the senses. It does not bring goodness to the reader. If the happiness of the population is at stake, does this justify the fluffing of rape reporting? Some evidence shows that the more progressive reportings tend to have a boomerang effect and impact the audience negatively. On the other side of this argument, J.S. Mill's principle of utilitarianism comes back into play. Does it affect the greatest number of good if the reportings are false? The final category in the Potter box model is loyalty. To whom are the journalists reporting rape loyal? The first person they are loyal to is their audience. Journalists have a duty to report news that affects their readers. The audience has a right to know about these rapes so that they can stay informed and stay safe. Euphemisms such as sexual assault blind the audience and mislead them. The next loyalty is to the truth. With their reputation and livelihood on the line, it is a journalist's duty to report what has happened accurately. As it is, the statistics for rapes are often distorted due to many reported rapes being classified as a no crime, as well as the media's creation of rape myths, like the overestimation of false accusations in rape cases. Journalists needn't censor these crimes further. The third is the victim. Victims of rape have been humiliated and violated, as well as physically and emotionally scarred. What little dignity the victim has left after the rape needs to be preserved, and they deserve to be honored. The terminology of a journalist has the ability to strengthen or decimate the honor of these victims. Victims of rape are often re-victimized or rendered voiceless in media outlets due to the choice terms of journalists. After looking at all four sections of the Potter box model, let us now look at all the information presented. When a journalist reports a rape as sexual assault or sexual abuse, they are using incorrect terminology. This misleads the reader, and it often leads to the audience not taking those reported cases seriously. Euphemisms such as sexual assault are ambiguous and deceitful. There needs to be a clear legal definition for the word rape. As it currently stands, state and federal definitions of the word differ. This allows journalists to use terms like sexual assault and sexual abuse loosely in place of the word rape. Journalists fear the boomerang effect. With their reputation and jobs on the line, they do not want to offend anyone by using the word rape in their articles. Journalists have a duty to report the truth and honor it. By using the incorrect terminology, journalists are not being faithful to the truth or their audience. They are putting themselves before the public interest, and this needs to change. It is unethical for journalists to behave and report in such a manner.